Hello and welcome to Cindy's Corner. Today, boys and girls, we're doing a fairy tale, and this book is The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Now, if you've got this book, go get it so you can follow along. Now, our story today is a fairy tale. That means it's going to start with once upon a time, and it's going to end with happily ever after. All right, so you know what a fairy tale is. And this one is the true. Now, I don't know about true, because what I think is true, you might not think is true. I might tell it a little different. So we're going to talk about that and what you think is true and what you think is not true. So be listening what you think is true. For my AR testers, this is a level 30. This is as told to John Scieszka. Someone told him that. By A. Wolf. Illustrated by Lane Smith. So this is what he was told. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs. Or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. Okay. I'm the wolf. Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me A.I. or A1. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. That big old sandwich. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. Is this big and bad? Oh. Here we got sneeze plus sugar. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old Granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig. And he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, "Little pig, little pig, little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old Granny's birthday cake. Then, when my nose started to itch, I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I sniffed and I sneezed a great sneeze. Blew it down, didn't he? And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw. So I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig! Mr. Pig! Mr. Pig, are you in there?" He yelled back, "Go away, Ruff, Woof. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs of my chinny chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I sniffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Woof's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So, I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was just getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig! Mr. Pig, are you in?" And you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me one little cup for my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about 2 pigs I had for dinner. Then they figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But now he's in jail, isn't he? He's gone on his jail things. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. Now, how did you think the story was going to go? Have you ever heard the wolf side of the story? Now, my question to you, do you believe the wolf? Is the wolf telling the right story? I don't know. What do you think? I want to hear in the comments if you believe the wolf. If you've ever heard the wolf story, and if you believe him. Tell me in your comments. Some of you older ones, how could you change the story? Share it with your friends and y'all come up with maybe a different story from the wolf or from the pigs. Share with me your fairy tale of the 3 pigs. Is it a bad wolf or a not bad wolf? Was he framed or not framed? I hope you enjoyed Storytime today, and I can't wait to see your fairy tale of the 3 pigs. Have a great day. Remember, give that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and share me with your friends so they don't miss Storytime with Cindy. And most important, give somebody a hug and tell them you love them. Have a great one.